안녕하세요. 고에다, good evening, and welcome back to my channel. I am back on YouTube again after a very long 2 year hiatus, and I wanted to come back with something new, something different. I'm back in Korea. I'm still living in Korea, but recently I've jumped back into reading, and I've really been enjoying watching watching reviewers of books, especially fancy books, actually. I'm really into fancy books. And I want to try my hand at reviewing some books and taking my channel into a little bit of a different direction. And I just finished a very hard read for me. And what I mean with that is that it was difficult to get through. So, this is going to be my first ever book review. I've done a movie review before, but I've never done a book review, so hopefully this goes well. So, the book we will be reviewing today, as the title suggests, is A Lonely Castle in the Mirror, written by Mizuki Tsujimura and translated by Philip Gabriel, which I was really looking forward to when I started it, but it did not turn out to be the book that I thought it would be. One of the first problems that I had with the book is a problem that I've realized I've had with not many. I've only done like 3 translated books. Read 3 translated. I've only read like 3 translated books, specifically Japanese books. 4. I'm lying. 4. But it's the same problem I had with Confessions, which I would definitely recommend by Kane Minato. Is a really good book. But I also recently read Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and I had the same problem in Confessions, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and also Lonely Castle, and the other book that I cannot remember the name of because I read it years ago, is that a translated book just doesn't have a certain rhythm to it that English, or in my home language, an Afrikaans book normally has. So that already makes it a little bit harder to read just because I don't know, there's just a certain flow rhythm that isn't there because it is translated. So many of the way people speak or the way certain things would be said just isn't as you would see in normal everyday English. But nonetheless, I went into this journey hoping for a great read, and unfortunately, nearing the end, I was kicking and screaming trying to get through this book. Not that I think that it is a bad book. My rating for it is about a 2.5 to a 3-star rating. But that doesn't mean I necessarily think it's a bad book. I think the problem is more with me than it is with the book itself. But I will highlight the books I had. What? I will be giving the problems that I had, the good, the bad, and everything in between. So I was trying to think how I would like to do this video, and I thought that I would try to have a little bit of structure to this. So, in reviewing my books, I will be doing a summary, or I'll be talking and discussing the summary, the setting, the plot, the characters, the structure, the themes, and then also give my final thoughts about the book, what I would have changed, or what was amazing, or just gush more about it if I really love the book. So, starting with Lonely Castle in the Mirror, the summary is centered around 7 students who get transported into a mirror or get transported through the mirror in their rooms into this castle. And of course, that would be a very jarring experience just to have that happen. But it all centers around how these students find themselves in this castle and why they are there. The only thing you can see at the beginning linking these 7 students is that they all have decided that they will not be attending school at all, and they're all met by a girl wearing a wolf mask, and thus she becomes known as the Wolf Queen. They then get instructed that they have to find a hidden room and a hidden key. If you find the hidden key, you find the hidden room, then you get a wish. And once the wish is made, other things happen, but I'm going to try to not be too spoilery throughout this video. So within the summary, we follow our main protagonist, Kokoro Anzai, who's a 7th grader, and we learn about why she left school, why she doesn't want to go to school, and we also go on this journey with her and the 6 other secondhand characters to find out why they are there, what their motivations are, and then see them slightly grow a little bit throughout the story. the problems basically start from there. The setting, of course, is the magic castle that is strangely equipped with electricity but no running water or gas. And then a secondary setting is the home of Kokoro. And then here and there, we also get a few other places that Kokoro goes to, or when other things happen. Again, not trying to spoil it, but yes, mainly you will be in the castle or in Kokoro's home. The plot the plot is where I have my biggest gripe with this story. So we get told there's a hidden key, there's a hidden room that gives you one wish, any wish you can have. We kind of only know what is Kokoro's wish at the beginning. We don't really get an idea of everybody's wish. I think if I remember correctly, we only learn about one or two other of the students' wish, but I think that was a little bit let down because it takes away from the character. But nonetheless, the plot is all about them having to find the key, but it isn't really because they never really go in search of the key. Most of the time we are either going through Kokoro's struggle, her mental struggle at home, or them being in the castle and playing games. And yeah, sometimes some of the students go look for the key, but it's not really, there's no urgency to them trying to look for the key. So it's monly. It's mostly just Kokoro's perspective, her trying to deal with things, understand things, but no urgency to look for the key. And I was hoping for this epic journey of trying to find the key and maybe doing puzzles or something like that, because I was sold on this book because someone said if you love Ghibli movies, then you would love this book. This book is like a Ghibli movie, and I kind of have to disagree with that. I don't think that this is close to a Ghibli movie. When I think of Ghibli movies, I think of a strong plot, magic, whimsy, and very strong themes. But in this, although they're transported to a magical castle place, there isn't really much whimsy or magic to it because most of the times they are just chatting, playing games, or we see the struggles that Kokoro go through. And the only way I can say that is really a Ghibli inspired book, not inspired, but kind of like a Ghibli movie, is just with the themes that are relevant, hard hitting, and thought provoking. So that left the book to be a little bit boring, and it was only at the end, like the last two chapters, Maya. If you see a tail, that's my cat Maya. She is very curious and slightly naughty. So that was my problem. That it was a little bit boring. It started to get difficult to read and difficult to get through. It's only in the last two chapters or so that we really get to see Maya. Don't play with the coins. That we really get to see who the characters are, what their struggles are, why they are in the castle, really, except for them just basically ditching school. So I didn't really enjoy the plot for the most part. But I must say, one thing that I think the author did great was the characters. The characters I thought was really well done. I thought they were great, relatable characters. They were well rounded characters. They were three dimensional characters. A lot of the characters would drop. Okay. A lot of the characters would drop like hints and clues about what's happening in their lives, or the author put in the hints and clues, of course, about what's happening in their life, why they don't go to school, why they don't like school. And I got to commend her for the characters she wrote. But the problem is, only at the end of the book do you really get to fall in love, get to relate with the characters, to learn about their stories, because it is this info dump at the end of the book. So I wanted to like the characters. I wanted to relate to the characters early on in the book, hopefully, but in the middle of the book, it was difficult. It was hard to really care because I didn't really know the characters until the end. So I can only say now that they're well developed, well rounded, because it's looking back. I see all those things because throughout the book you only get tidbits here and there of who they are, what they think, what they believe, and I think they were well written characters. Maya, say hi. Please do not play around. So I do think that the characters were well explored at the end of the book. I just wish that the history of the characters and their backstories were put in earlier into the book, or not everything has to be put in earlier in the book, but I think there were some key moments where you could put in via dialogue, flashbacks, or anything like that would have been better for the book to really get to feel and understand these characters throughout the book. Because for me, although I think they were well done, it only happened at the end of the book where I learned who they were and what they were going through. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want to know when it comes to the characters of the book. Why are they there? What do they believe? What happened? How can we relate? How can we feel for them? How can we fall in love with these school students and feel for the struggles they went through if we don't know what they actually went through until the last two chapters of the book? So those are the characters that I can give a compliment for, but with that compliment, there also comes a problem. The structure was another problem that I had with the book. Ah, Maya, you have nails. You scratch me. You hurt me. Please stop hurting me. So the structure was another problem I had with the book. So we start off with a regular introductory chapter where we get a little bit of information. We learn about the character, about Kokoro, of course, and then everything happens. Then the book is divided into three parts: the first semester, second semester, and third semester. And then we've got the closure chapter and the epilogue, which is all fine and well, but it kind of messed with the pacing a little bit because of the parts and then the chapter lengths. And the reason why it's set in the first, second, and third semester is because the students only have 1 year or one school year to finish their quest of finding this key. And for the most part of the book, they're not looking for the key. So they're kind of just wasting time. So by the end, by when we got to the nearing the end of the not the book, not the book. Believe me, you think you're nearing the end of the book, then it's like surprise. No, you still have about 2-3 hours of reading to do. So what you find at the end of the semester, when they get close to the time running out, then they only start realizing, okay, should we look for the key? Do we want to look for the key? What's our main objective? And again, the pacing then doesn't really work that well. And then the chapter lengths also disturbed the pacing for me just a little bit, because some chapters were, I want to say, like normal chapter lengths, and then some of the chapters here nearing the end were these long long hour and a half, 40-minute long chapters, which became a slog to go through, and it was really going slow here at the end, and I really had to like fight and push myself to get through it. Another problem with the structure was also the writing was a little bit choppy, and I don't know if that is due to the translation that this happens, because again, I can't read Japanese, so I don't know how a Japanese book is written and how to read it, because of course I don't know Japanese. But in this book, what would happen is you would read about something, a sentence would end, and then in the very next sentence there would be like a time jump or a place jump, and it doesn't feel like what you've just read has been resolved or finished off completely. And then it's just like, okay, we're in a new place, we're in a new time, and I'm just like, ooh, whoa. Can you maybe give me a new paragraph and not a new sentence? Because I thought we're still busy with this conversation about this topic, but no, we're in a new place, new time, a new idea that we're going to have to work through now. So that also had a problem with the pacing for me that I didn't really like. And I kind of feel bad saying all these negative things because I know how much people love this book, because it is such a hard-hitting and deep book. But alas, I didn't like it for the reasons that I said. The last thing that I do also want to not take apart. Wow, that sounds so bad. I'm such a mean person. The last thing I want to talk about are the themes. That is another point that I have to give to the author. The themes that Tsujimura took on, I thought she handled superbly. So well, But when she handled the themes was just the biggest problem with the plot and the structure. The characters were great to explore these themes, but how and when they were explored, handled, and when the questions are brought to you to think about, that's where my problem lay. So I give props when it comes to handling things of depression, anxiety, bullying, abuse, mental health. There are such sensitive topics that can quickly be used or abused for the sake of a book. But I thought how it was handled here was more thought provoking, especially when you read at the end of the book the high suicide rates that they do find in Japan, which makes the book more poignant in the current time that we are living in, the issues that Japanese students are facing. So again, the themes were well done, well written, important theme that needs to be discussed, that needs to be more researched, more questioned, explored. It's just how she brought them into this story was just the only problem for me, with the info dumps just happening at the end of the book, and we just had to go through everything and put everything together and go through all of these emotions and all of these experiences, where for the first 70-80% of the book we kind of just got Kokoro's perspective and what she was going through, and at the end you get what everybody's going through and what everybody's struggling with, and now you have to deal with that, which was kind of a problem for me personally. So that was the problems I had with the book. That was the things that I thought were not done very well, and some of the things that were done with regards to the setting, the plot, the characters, the structure, and the themes. My final thoughts would be, even though I did enjoy this book, I didn't enjoy this book, and even though I did have issues with the book, I don't think that it's a bad book. I just think that for my personal taste, it wasn't necessarily then written for me. I would recommend this book to people. I think many people can get so much more from it than I did. I think this author is very talented. I think the idea was pretty cool with all the plot twists at the end. Again, everything happens at the end of the book. There's nothing in the middle to kind of keep you going. That's what I struggled with the second or third last chapter. Was it was such a long chapter, and then really kind of nothing with that many. I think what might have been an interesting thing was if you had different character views. If you had the character views from Kokoro, if you had Rion's, if you had Subaru, and you saw what they went through, they didn't have to be long chapters. They didn't have to go into detail. You can still keep the end when you really find out the truth, but just give those extra glimpses for me to get to know the characters more. And I think that was an opportunity that was missed. Um, but yeah, for me, unfortunately, it was a 2.5 to a 3 star book, which again might just be my personal gripes that I have with the book. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if this video feels a little bit rushed. This is my first time doing a review, so I am feeling a little bit nervous. Sorry if it is a little bit rambling. I'm trying to have some structure to it. I will try my best to be better at it. I am waiting for my next book now. I'm taking a break from reading because I struggled so much, and hopefully today or tomorrow my new book will arrive, and the book that I will be reading next will be Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. So I'm really, really excited to read my first Brandon Sanderson book. I've been hearing so much about him, and I've known about him for a while now, but I didn't know what to read until I saw a video about this book, and I was like, yes, this sounds like an anime. I haven't watched anime in a while, but I do love me some anime, so I did want to jump into the Brandon Sanderson universe, and this will be my first book doing that. Maya, what are you doing there at the back? What you doing there? But yeah, thank you for clicking and watching. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. What did you think of the book? Did you love the book? Why did you love the book? Didn't you love the book? Why didn't you like the book? If you have any suggestions, throw them down in the comments. Please share, like, subscribe, do all those things. I have a few other book ideas running through my mind that I want to do. So hopefully I will see you in the next one. And as I always say, don't let fear interfere with your happiness. You deserve all the happiness in the world. Groete, liefde, vrede, vreugde, geluk, blydskap, liefde. Al my dinkies vir julle. Until next time. Bye bye.